Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is your instructor Anam Parvez from Computer Science Department. I'll inshallah teach you the subject programming with C++. Dearies, welcome to the second and last year of your college life at Army Burn Hall College for Girls. I emphasized on this word last, not to give you nostalgia, rather to make you realize that how important and crucial second year of intermediate is. It basically acts as a milestone when you are about to reach your destination, when you are at the verge of finding your glory. As you must have heard that all is well that ends well, this end would mark a new beginning for you as you would be able to further opt for higher studies. This end would teleport you in a new world of wonders. In order to get this transition done smoothly, in order to get passed out from your FSC with high heads without any regrets, it is essential to utilize your time properly to religiously follow our virtual educational sessions. Dear students, you are utterly fortunate that before occurrence of COVID-19 pandemic, you were able to spend your first year's whole duration in your institution's environment physically. So you are already familiar with the faculty, staff, conducive environment, tough routines, quality education, and high standards. In that case, probably you would not be having any adjustments or interaction issues with your instructors. So, dear students, I have conducted today's orientation-based lecture and introductory lecture in order to give you a wake-up alert in order to set your pace with this new routine. The aims, objectives, or the learning outcomes of today's lecture would be: number one, to discuss some facts regarding the use of programming languages, especially C++. Number two, to discuss the course contents. Number three, to initiate chapter number one by discussing the first topic, operating system. Number four, to discuss the teaching methodologies. Starting with our first objective, as you know, dear students, computer is an electronic machine which takes input from the user, processes that data, stores the data in some storage device, and displays the output on the screen. But from programming point of view, we can also say that a computer is an electronic computing machine used to solve a large variety of problems related with all the aspects of your life. It means that programming languages are used to develop computer programs. A computer program is a set of instructions written in a programming language to solve a particular problem and achieve specific results. So, point to be noted is, as per your requirement or problem relevant to the computer, you can develop a solution using any programming language. Once, when people felt the need to create their documents electronically, then MS Word software was developed by the software engineers or developers by using programming languages. MS Excel was developed keeping in view the need to perform calculations and mathematical functions electronically. Even your operating system, without which a computer can't work or operate, is also a software developed in programming languages. In today's world, millions of softwares or apps are available in the market, developed by using a wide variety of programming languages. So, in essence, we can say that any task performed by a computer is controlled by a set of instructions or by a computer program called as software. Software consists of a set of instructions, and these instructions are developed by using any kind of programming languages. Dear students, your course is all about programming in C++ language. Programming means to program a software or its instructions by writing codes as per a specific programming language syntax, as per its rules or semantics, or by using its techniques or methods. Programming languages fall in three broad categories. Number one, machine language. Machine language is also called computer understandable language or binary language. This language actually consists of binary numbers, zeros or ones. You have already read binary conversions in IP address schemes in first year. Practically nowadays, no programming or coding is being done in machine language. Rather, assembly and high level languages are being used for developing softwares. The codes written in these languages are then converted into the machine language or binary language for computers' understanding. Computer only understands binary language. It only understands zeros or ones. That means every input given to the computer is then converted into binary numbers for devices' understandability. Second type of language is assembly language, which uses symbolic codes or mnemonics for programming. Codes written in this language are then converted into machine language using a special software called as assembler. Third type is high-level languages. A high-level language code is much more powerful programming tool than an assembly language. High-level languages are English-oriented, use English along with mathematical operators and functions for code development. Special softwares, namely compilers and interpreters, can be used to translate or convert a high-level language code into machine language. High-level languages and assembly language codes or programs are converted into binary form because computer only understand binary digits, zeros or ones. It can't understand any English alphabets or maths-based operators or functions. So, there are certain major differences between assembly and high-level languages, but most prominent ones are: number one, assembly language is so closely tied to the computer machine that it is impossible to use the assembly language code of one computer on another computer. That is not the case with high-level languages, which are generally considered problem-oriented rather than machine-oriented. Codes written in high-level languages are transferable to the same high-level language used on any other computer. Second difference between assembly and high-level language is generally the cost of all phases of program preparation, that is, coding, debugging, and documenting, is lower with a high-level language than with an assembly language. The diagram being displayed on the screen shows the level of close ties or relationship of every language with computer hardware. You can see that machine language or binary code is closest or most understandable by the computer hardware. After machine language, assembly language is closest to the computer hardware, not as much as machine language, but better than high-level languages. Assembly language is closer or compatible or understandable to the computer hardware as much as it is compatible. As I was saying, that assembly language is compatible, closer or understandable to the computer hardware as much as it is compatible or understandable by the high level languages. That means it has got compatibility with both machine as well as high level languages. While high level languages have got the least understandability or compatibility with computer, that's why to create this understandability or compatibility, compilers or interpreters are used to convert high-level language code into machine language. The first high-level language was designed in 1950s in order to communicate instructions to computer. The first high-level language was Thankalkul, but the first commercially available language was Fortran. Dozens of different programming languages, especially high-level languages, are available nowadays. For example, BASIC, COBOL, Lisp, Prolog, Algol, Ada, C, C++, Java, JavaScript, Visual Basic, Ruby, and many, many more. In order to show the importance and usage of C++, I share with you a very interesting fact. You might remember 27th Feb 2019 standoff between Pakistan and India when Pakistan shot down India's two fighter planes due to an invasive intrusion from India's side. JF Thunder 17 was used to shot down Indian aircrafts at that time. As you know, FJ Thunder is a unique fighter plane. Why? Because of its structure? Well, its prototype was designed by China and Pakistan's mutual cooperation, but its basic operating system was the credit of purely Pakistani software engineers who developed it in C++ programming language, which is a miracle at world's level. As before JF Thunder 17, no fighter plane in the world was developed using C++. Even America uses Ada programming language for developing the navigation systems or operating system softwares for their fighter planes, as C++ is highly complicated as compared to Ada. However, it can't be easily hacked as compared to Ada. Software development industry has a reputation of being male dominated, while women have also made very important and lasting contributions. One area where women have made significant impression is the development of programming languages. In fact, the world's first computer programmer was a woman. Some of the programming languages created by women are ARC programming language was developed by Kathleen Booth. Address programming language was developed by Catherine Yashchenko. COBOL programming language was developed by Grace Hopper. Formic was developed by Jane Sammet. Logo was developed by Cynthia Solomon. CLU was developed by Barbara Liskov. Basic programming language was developed by Sophie Wilson. Smalltalk was developed by Adele Goldberg. Coke was developed by Christine Pauline Moring, and many, many more. The founder of the discipline, software engineering, and the world's first software engineer is a woman, Margaret H. Hamilton. She founded this discipline while developing the guidance and navigation system for NASA's Apollo spacecraft as head of the software engineering division of MIT's Instrumentation Laboratory. Her written codes played an integral part in putting Neil Armstrong on moon by controlling the machinery of Apollo 11 spacecraft. Dear students, our second objective is to discuss the course contents. Dear students, your course is all about programming with C++. C++ is a complicated but favorite language of software engineers. When it comes to developing an operating system, C++ is a favorite. It was developed by a Danish computer scientist, namely Bjarne Stroustrup, in 1980. Dear students, you will learn to develop programs and codes using C++ for solving different problems regarding the functionality and working of an operating system. For example, on your computer, you want to solve or generate the sum of any five numbers. You will enter those numbers in your computer's calculator or in MS Excel software. You will get the result. Apparently, that is so simple for a user to just click, enter, and get the result. However, background reality is contrasting. A developer or software engineer actually programs or writes certain codes for enabling lectures or options, for enabling features or options in a software, and guarantees the functionality or working of software. Codes written in programming languages construct a software. Coming back to the point, we want our computer to calculate the sum of five numbers. The sample code written in C++, embedded in an operating system or any software like MS Excel, for generating the sum of any five numbers would be like this. You can see that on screen. This blue screen shows integrated development environment for writing the source code. IDE can be different from software to software, and the code here is written using the syntax and semantics of C++. Don't worry, dear students, you would be able to initiate coding and learn about writing codes in C++ from scratch, following the contents of your course book. The course book recommended by Federal Board is a textbook of computer science, grade 12, by National Book Foundation. In addition, another book would be recommended by me, that is C++ book of Aikman series. That is not a key, it is a proper course book being used at university level. So your course book has 9 chapters in total, except first 2 chapters. All the other 7 chapters are purely based on programming or coding. Dear students, C++ course contents revolve around 3 things. Number 1, theory. Number 2, experimentation, which involves applying the written codes as source codes on an IDE, also involves their debugging. And the third one is to develop sample prototype for real life problems. In order to apply or write, experiment or debug, and generate results for C++, you would need a special software, namely Turbo C++, that should be installed on your computer. Turbo C++ actually provides integrated development environment or IDE to develop source code, and it acts as a compiler to translate or convert C++ code to computer's machine language, as well as it is also used for debugging the source code from syntax errors. Other softwares can also be used as a Turbo C++ alternative, for example, Visual Studio or Dev C++, DEV, Dev C++. For performing or experimenting programming codes, it is mandatory to have a laptop, computer, or any such device. Coming back to the book contents, chapter number 1 is all about operating systems, their types, functions, process, and the states of a process. Chapter number 2 spans around the life cycle or phases involved in the development process of a software project. Chapter 3 encompasses all the basics from the scratch of developing a program and writing codes using an object-oriented C++. If you would carefully and properly follow this chapter, then in that case you would be able to write a code or develop a program. Otherwise, you would not be able to grasp the concepts of programming till the end of this book. Matter of fact is that this chapter lays the foundation for programming in C++. Chapter 4 revolves around decision and control structures like if-else, switch statements, loops, etc. Chapter 5 is about coding with one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays. Chapter 6 concerns all the concepts of user-defined functions. Chapter 7 tells how to perform coding using pointers. Chapter 8 spans around objects, classes, inheritance, and polymorphism techniques. Chapter 9 finally covers the concepts of file handling and the streams associated with file handling. Coming towards our next objective, that is to initiate chapter number 1 by discussing its first topic, that is operating system. Dear students, you should have a copy class notebook in your hands along with pen, because most of the concepts I'm telling you are not available in your book. Kindly note down the concepts. If any doubt, confusion or ambiguities arise, we will inshallah sort them out in our video conferencing based lecture. First and foremost thing you need to know about is that what is an operating system. It is a type of system software and it is the most important software running on your device. Before going into details, keep one thing in your mind. When you switch on your computer, the first thing that gets activated is a firmware software embedded in ROM or BIOS chip. That chip is actually attached on a motherboard. So after its activation, after firmware activation, it fetches the operating system from the hard disk and loads it into the RAM. Operating system is always permanently stored in hard disk, as all the computer's files or folders, programs, softwares along with operating system are stored in hard disk permanently. But operating system is loaded into RAM temporarily, because from there it will control and coordinate all the activities of a computer, all the activities, operations performed by computer components or computer parts. For example, if you are performing any activity on your computer, you are using some other application softwares or downloading some file, as well as, for example, you are browsing web pages. Side by side, you are reading an online book, or you are using an email account or any social networking web page. So if you are performing these multiple activities at the same time, all these activities will run or take place on the platform of your operating system. Operating system acts as a foundation or platform for all other software programs, for files and folders, or for all the activities. Operating system controls and manages all the stuff happening inside a computer with the help of microprocessor. Without operating system, computer is an empty box, a useless box. Suppose you have lost your operating system or it got corrupt or damaged. When you will switch on your device, you would not be able to reach inside your system or reach your desktop or any stuff inside your computer system. Without operating system, a computer can't run. Operating system provides you with graphical user interface. Graphical user interface is an interface which removes the need for giving commands for carrying out any tasks. It allows you to just click an option or an icon or a symbol to access the interface of something or to access the features of any program. Operating system acts as a bridge between user and the computer hardware. It also acts as a bridge between user and the computer software, as well as between user and all the programs, files, folders of a computer. Every desktop computer, tablet, and smartphone includes an operating system that provides basic foundation or platform or functionality to other programs or features of the device. Operating system also performs the following certain tasks. Operating system performs the duty of loading application softwares or several types of other programs or files, folders or features into the RAM by fetching them from hard disk. Remember that when any kind of data goes to RAM, from there it will ultimately goes to CPU or microprocessor, because microprocessor performs the execution of that data. Operating system also controls the execution of any kind of data, program, software. Microprocessor performs the execution of the data coming from RAM, but the execution process is controlled by the operating system ultimately. For example, data instructions of any software, for example, of MS Word, got loaded into the RAM. Now, microprocessor fetches that data and instructions from the RAM, and then it applies those instructions on that data. This process is called as processing or execution of the data. In this way, data and instructions both get executed by the CPU or microprocessor. After execution, data is stored in some storage device or can be afterwards displayed on the screen as output. That means operating system controls the operations of main memory RAM, as well as it controls the operations of internal and external storage devices like magnetic disks, optical disks, and flash memories. Operating system manages or controls the operations of all input or output devices. For example, it manages keyboard operations. It also manages pointing devices like mouse, trackball, touchpad, joysticks. It also manages audio visual devices like microphones or cameras, as well as it manages optical input devices like scanners. Operating system also handles the operations of all the output devices like monitors, printers, plotters, and speakers. Operating system has the ability to handle files or folders, whatever folder or file you are creating or editing, deleting or updating. It would be finally maintained or managed or stored by the operating system on a certain location, on a certain memory address inside a memory. Most importantly, operating system allows multitasking of programs simultaneously. It allows the CPU or microprocessor to handle several ongoing tasks or activities at the same time. I have already given you an example that, for example, if you are downloading a file, at the same time, side by side, you are browsing through search engine, along with reading an online book, etc. Overall, you are performing three tasks side by side. So these tasks are being executed by the CPU simultaneously within nanoseconds under the observation of an operating system. Operating system performs network operations or controls network configurations and settings. Means when you enable internet on your device or you get connected with any Wi-Fi or VPN or any 3G, 4G network, all the network settings are being handled by the operating system of your device. By connecting to a network, you can share or transfer data with devices inside or outside that network. Devices connected within a network can share resources like CPU, RAM, hard disk, printer, scanner, etc. with one another. Most importantly, operating system can detect any hardware failures. For example, Suddenly it occurs to you that your mouse or hard disk is not properly working, as you are getting an error message from your operating system that shows hardware components failure detection. Operating system also provides security through encryption techniques embedded into the layers of OSI model. OSI model exists at operating system level or embedded in operating system. You have already read about operating system in first year. All the security and encryption of data packets or encapsulation of data packets takes place at presentation and network layers. Operating system also allows you to set username, login ID, password for your network, for your internet connection, and for your device's security. Coming towards our subtopic, that commonly used operating systems are 4: DOS, Windows, Macintosh, and Unix or Linux. So the first commonly used operating system is DOS. DOS stands for Disk Operating System. It was called as Disk Operating System because entire operating system was stored on a single floppy disk. It was developed in 1970s. Uh, DOS interface is basically text-based interface called as command line interface for user. The user had to type commands to interact with computer. The disadvantages of DOS were that user had to learn hundreds of commands to operate a computer effectively. And DOS commands were difficult to learn, memorize, and use for novice computer users. The usage of DOS was that DOS had been used successfully on microcomputers for many years, but it was replaced by a more user friendly operating system called Windows Operating System afterwards. Examples of some DOS commands are: number one, rename. This command could be used for renaming a file. Second command would be cd. That command was used for changing directory. Then dir, dir. That command was used to display directories. Then fourth command was del or copy. Uh, Del command was used to delete the files from the drive, and copy command was used to copy the files from the drive. Then fifth command, format. This command was used to format a disk. Likewise, hundreds of thousands of commands existed at that time. Second commonly used operating system is Windows operating system. It was developed in mid 1980s by Microsoft Corporation. Its interface is graphical user interface based, GUI based, because you can click icons, symbols, or options on the screen in order to enter some program or file. The advantages of Windows operating system are that its interface is really user friendly. User does not have to memorize commands like DOS. And its usage statistics show that most commonly operating system status, due to its status, 80% of the devices around the world use this operating system nowadays. Versions. Microsoft released many versions to enhance its user interface and features. For example, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, and Windows 10. Third commonly used operating system is Macintosh. It was developed by Potato Incorporation. Mostly it is installed on Apple computers. Uh, Latest version is known as Operating System X, but Potato Inc. Corporation has released almost 10 versions till date, and its advantages are that Macintosh is more secure operating system as compared to Windows operating system. Its hardware and software works well together with minimum flaws. The disadvantages of Macintosh operating system are that Mac computer is of high quality but more expensive than IBM compatible computers or Windows based computers, and a large variety of application softwares um, are easily available for Windows operating system, whereas the Macintosh operating system has very limited application software compatibility. The operating system, or the Macintosh X, is not a widely used operating system like Windows operating system. Fourth and last commonly used operating system is Unix. It was developed in early 1970s at Bell Laboratories Research Center by Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. It was developed using C programming language. Its advantages are that it provides greater processing power, greater processing speed. It provides better security than Windows operating system. Computers running Unix operating system rarely have any malware attacks, any security attacks. Unix is available for a wide range of computer systems, from microcomputers to mainframes. Its disadvantages are that Unix operating system is less popular on microcomputers on which Windows is pre-installed when they are sold. You can see the Unix interface inside by figure. Lastly, dear students, my last objective regards the teaching methodologies. All your recorded lectures, homeworks, assignments would be uploaded on your portal. As you have got the login ID and password for your portal, you would download the stuff from your portal. But in order to conduct live questions or answers session, we would use video conferencing based software Google Zoom. You people who have already taken classes with me using Google Zoom, so it is already installed on your devices. So dear students, get ready. Thank you for your time, for your attention. Stay safe, stay healthy. Allah Hafiz.